Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast, all those things we didn't get to during the course of the show today. Recently, at the end of the show, we were talking about kind of like confidence. Like you lack confidence, you get thrown into the deep end on something, and you have to figure it out, you know. And I was thinking about this, and I'm curious, like, how confident are you guys in your abilities or in your lack of abilities? Like
just generically?
Yeah. Just do you see yourself as a pretty confident person, Gavin?
No.
Okay, that's good. It's good that you realize it.
But then, in some ways, it's funny because I feel like I'm more competent than I am confident.
Oh, that's a good distinction.
And in some ways, I'm okay with the competence. I don't know if I think to myself about my I'm confident in coming in here and doing this job well every single day, but I don't come in here with, now
you're confident in your incompetence.
Well, no, I'd say there's 3 tiers. There's competence, confidence, and cockiness.
Cockiness, yeah.
And I probably land, I guess, just a tier below confidence.
Okay, under that scale of competence, confidence, and cockiness, let's do it within work.
Okay.
Where do you land, Betty Rock?
You know, I don't think I'm too confident, but then when I compare myself to others,
Sure.
then I'm like, oh, not everyone thinks the way I do. I do seem to come across as more confident than others when I compare myself.
Sure.
I guess inside my head, maybe I'm not as confident, but I just do it anyway.
Yeah, you're probably your own worst enemy, like
Yeah.
your own narrative. We're going to talk about this later on the show, maybe tomorrow or the next day. But I read this thing from John Acuff actually in Relevant magazine. Yeah, and it was about the soundtrack in your head and changing the soundtrack. You know, because your brain can be retrained to be more confident. And I'm like, oh, that's actually a really interesting thing. And I just kind of skimmed through it. I have always suffered from overconfidence.
Yeah.
But probably the overconfidence comes from insecurity or knowing that I have a lack of ability on certain things. I will overcompensate, for them. Like if we're anytime, and my whole life has been a pattern of this. If like, say we were standing on a cliff and it was like a 40-foot cliff to jump into the water, and everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. And then everyone starts going, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm scared. I will be the first one in. I'd be like, you guys. And I always just take the lead. I'm like, I'm going. And like, I expect you to follow me. And if you don't, oh, well, I'm going. Like I always pick up from where. And so it's even with things that I don't know much about. If everyone else is a little ambiguous about it, then I step up and I take the lead, whether I know what I'm doing or not.
You'd rather be in the shore or in the lake than on the shore.
Absolutely.
Watching somebody else do something well.
But have you ever considered that the reason they're pulling out from jumping on the cliff is because there are sharp rocks and sharks at the bottom?
Absolutely, they're scary stuff.
How deep is that water?
Do you think that far, or do you still do it anyway?
No, like I don't think about the scary stuff for the most. No, not all the time. I have the older I've gotten, I think more about what it takes to get hurt. Like actually, like selling my motorcycle was a big deal because I was overconfident in that. And the thing I'm learning as I get older is that my overconfidence of my youth could be deadly in my old age. Like I realized that was one that I got smart on and realized this could hurt me. I'm not confident in this. Now, if I'm ever in a scenario where I'm with somebody that is confident in something and I'm not, I don't try to take the lead, even though I'm an 8 and all that other stuff.
Wait.
That's true. Wait, do you have an example?
Minute.
Wait, go.
Hardcore example.
What's your example?
Not just making fun of him for.
You take so much confidence in the fact that you called yourself an amateur first responder. There are people there that have been trained.
No, they weren't there yet.
They even have a license, okay? And they're there. They are confident in doing what they do.
Right.
Yet you have no comprehension of what's going on, but you have all the confidence in the world.
Up until they get there, I'm in charge. I'm running the show. But when they get there, I will acquiesce to their actual doctor schooling. Like, for example, like with when Greg and I would go mountain biking. Greg is better at mountain biking than me. And so I always let him lead. Like he'll go, oh, why don't you go? I'm like, no, you're fine. He also knows where to go. He reads maps. He knows that. I don't know that stuff. So I sit in the back, and I definitely on our bicycle boat for 2. I sit in the back, and I take a secondary role in that. But when we get on the water, that's where I know what I'm doing more, and so I will take the lead on that.
What if someone walks into the situation with all the confidence in the world, but you don't trust their confidence?
I'm not going to follow that.
yeah,
no. If you have a hint of you don't know what you're doing, then even if I don't either, I'm still going to bet on me versus somebody else that I don't trust or don't know. Absolutely. Wow. But that's...
Do you think that comes across as cocky?
Sure. I said that to a friend of mine years ago that I was working with. I was like, the thing that makes you great at this job is also the thing that makes you difficult as a person to love. And so for me, I understand that. The thing
Work and love.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, same.
It's pretty extreme.
Well, the thing for me, the way I'm wired makes me good at this job. It's made me good at this job for a lot of years. And now I got here because I had people that invested in me and I learned and I worked hard. But there's certain natural things in me that are perfect for this job. And so for me to go down this road, it's not a big deal. So that thing that makes you great at what you do can make you tough to be around. And that's not easy to come to grips with that. And I realize
that. You're super confident in what you're saying because
I'm super confident in this. No, I'm confident in this now. And I'm trying to get better at understanding that from the people around me that I don't think I'm that difficult, but I realize when I talk to people that I can be challenging in the way I approach things. And definitely ego is a big part of doing this job well. And that is something that when it gets out of balance with me, it's not good. But that being said, a lot of times my inflated ego is usually trying to compensate for something that maybe I'm insecure about or I'm not sure that I'm good at doing, kind of thing. So it runs the gamut. It's both.
At least you realize it.
Yeah, I realize all the wrong things with me. Absolutely. I know, Rock, you're like, oh, you're a mess. I'm like, no, I get it. I know what's wrong with me. I'm powerless to fix it.
No, you're not.
No, I am. Is it because it's the way I've been wired?
No, that is an excuse if I've ever heard one.
It's dead on truth. Dead
excuse.
Truth. Yeah, so that's what you said.
What an insecure person would say.
Maybe so. All right. I'm going to save the doctor-assisted suicide for tomorrow. I literally have a story on that. But it's fascinating.
Are we going to debate suicide?
Doctor-assisted. We'll do that tomorrow because I don't want to get into a today.
Thanks.
So yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. I found this thing on the top 3 things we consider when naming our cars. Now, Betty Lou, I'm curious because some of the things they say, the personality, the make and model, and how it performs. You have Jubal, which is your Nissan, and you named it after a character on Andy Griffith. Did it have anything to do with the car, or you just like the name?
No, I wanted a Southern name, but I wanted a name that meant something, and I was like, I'm sure I was watching an episode where Jubal came in, and there's only maybe 2, but I thought, that'd be a cute name for this car. I'm just gonna go with Jubal.
Okay,
and that's what I want.
Because we named Haley's first car Parker Schnabel. After the kid that was on Gold Rush, and just because it was a funny name, and then it got shortened over the years to Schnabs, and so she was sad when she got rid of Schnabs.
What's
for
her
a new
one
car.
now?
She doesn't have a name for it.
Oh, come on,
I know.
Haley,
I've tried to I've been like, well, hey, let's spitball a few names. I can't remember what I gave her. I gave her one I thought was perfect. She named our Santa Fe Jack Kelly. Because of Newsies, the Broadway musical, he sings the song Santa Fe, and so
that makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that was a really good one.
What's your truck?
I never named it. We named it on the show. It's not bad. We named Marty's. We struggle with Marty's, her Bronco, because we wanted to we had been in L.A. and we rented a car, and it had a blinker on it that went bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. It sounded like bing bong, from Inside Out. And so we wanted to name her new car Bing Bong. But when you do her blinker, it's not the same. It's like bong, bing, bong, bing, bong, bing. It's the opposite.
Not as good.
It's not as good. And we tried it. And so we have Bing Bong, and that didn't work. And then if you look at my app for my phone, because you can name it, it says Bucky. She named it Bucky, like Buck and Bronco, like Bucky Bronco.
Pretty cliche.
I've never really felt it. To be honest with you. I thought we could have done better with that. Did you name any of your cars, Gavin?
Yeah, the one out back is Cosmo, just because it was a
Cosmo and Wanda?
Cosmo Blue, because it's a type of blue color. But that's probably
your car's blue.
Yeah.
No,
it looks
it's
green
a
to me.
navy. It's
It
like
looks
a navy,
greenish gray.
darkish
definitely
navy,
gray.
blue. You guys are wrong. But that's probably the first time I've said that actual name in reference to that car in a few years.
You guys had to name your future kid Bennett, and now you're gonna have a new car because your other one's being replaced. So now you have to name the car too.
Do we have to?
You do.
Do I?
Yeah.
I feel like new vehicles aren't as fun to name, and when you look at an older vehicle and it's got this cute name like Jubal or something like that, my R.I.P. to the 4Runner was named Juju, and I always got those two names mixed up. I don't even remember personally what Juju was a name for.
That's funny,
but I always called the 4Runner Jubal, and I always called your car Juju, and Haley's like, no, you're wrong.
That's funny because my friend's mom's her nickname is Juju.
Oh yeah,
and we call her the Juge. I've never heard that before.
I have a quick question. What is Bennett's middle name?
Taylor.
Bennett Taylor.
What's
Okay.
that from?
So
Taylor Swift.
I wish.
Oh, I wish your last name started with an S or a K, BTS.
Yeah.
No, an S, so it could be BTS. Like you named it in honor of a K-pop band.
That would have been a bad accident.
That'd be so great.
Taylor was the name of a. I think Taylor was the name of a kid who their family was really close to this other family. One of which was Haley's ex-boyfriend.
What?
And then they got in this
Wow.
really bad car crash, and the little brother, died.
Oh, wow.
And so I know. And then that just in memory of that kid.
Really?
And to be honest,
Wait a
that
minute,
name
wait
might
a
And
have
of
been.
her ex-boyfriend's brother.
Does that bother you?
No.
Interesting.
If you're talking about confidence,
Yeah.
Even back in the day,
Yeah.
I remember meeting the ex-boyfriend,
Yeah.
and that gave me confidence.
Oh, really?
And
You thought he was a loser. Okay.
I thought I was better than him.
Nice.
Nice.
It feels like I'm cocky at this point.
Sure.
But it was. I remember when I was
Well,
in
look
high
at
school.
you. You're a catch.
Appreciate that. This was before I had facial hair, but I remember being in high school before I met Haley and being a really non-confident person when it came to my other dating relationships because I was like, oh, they're obviously gonna like someone else better than me, and I never felt that with Haley.
Yeah.
And so that's probably one of the stronger reasons why this will last forever.
This has lasted this long.
And I will say, Taylor, I'm fairly confident that Taylor's the middle name of that kid. So it's not even like
a direct name.
A direct
Okay.
name. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's
You're
the
gonna
case.
You're gonna find out that the story's all wrong and that Taylor is the middle name of her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, or her nickname for him.
Yeah. Tay-Tay.
It's not something that like my kid's middle name will be an original to them name.
Sure.
Because that name has no emotional tie for me. So it does roll off the tongue in my mind, Bennett Taylor. And if we raise them in a Southern-ish type way where you do the first and middle name together, sometimes I could see going, hey, Bennett Taylor. Like,
Yeah.
What's up, BT?
I like Bennett. I think Bennett's a good name. I think that was a good choice. So it's weird. Yeah, and thinking about all the name stuff, it's like, wow, we named Gavin when you think about it. Like we named our
also
cars, we
true.
named Gavin.
The little baby.
Yeah. Again, still doesn't have a crazy clear.
None of us remember.
Doesn't have a crazy clear origin story
That's
either.
the weirdest
I
thing.
wish it did.
Is that none of us remember when we renamed Gavin. In case you're new to the show, we have a holy competitor called K-Love, and like every time his real name was used on the air, Caleb, it sounded like we were saying K-Love, and I don't want that. And so I'm like, well, we gotta change his name. And we were in a meeting, and somebody came, and we don't know who came up with it, and it was like, he just looks like a Gavin. Like no, that's all I remember about that story. And I'm so surprised that none of us remember.
And to my mom's chagrin, there's a weird world in my head where I get called Gavin every day more than I ever get called Caleb.
Oh, absolutely.
And just because of just using a name here at work.
Right.
And so sometimes hearing Caleb, because it's been 5 years, hearing Caleb doesn't sound right.
Right.
Per se.
Yeah.
And my mom, they'll never admit that. Haley is funny. She'll always say, "I say your name all the time." You do not. Actually.
Yeah.
It's
Babe.
Babe.
It's
something,
pet names. Yeah.
Something, marital.
Yeah.
But I just don't hear my real name.
Yeah. Pretty soon it's going to be just a part of you don't remember.
Gavin is way cooler.
Yeah. It would have been great if you had named your kid Caleb Jr. and then people would be like, "Wait, what? Caleb Jr. Your name's Gavin."
Is that a family name?
Exactly. Oh man, Lady Rock, what do you got? I'm sorry I got off on all that name stuff. I forgot we still have yours. But you avoided doctor-assisted suicide.
Yeah, that was a positive buffer in
That's
between.
a win, right? That's a win.
So there is a couple of girls. They are part of a singing group. And they decided that, I guess they're both single, they're going to go to their local airport and take some of those luggage tags, like just the paper ones that you can get at the check-in counter. They put their name on it and their phone number, and they're like, "If you're single, call me." And they put it on all the luggage carousel. Like, they go to every carousel, and they put it on every piece of luggage that looks like it could belong to a man.
Oh, wait. You'd have to do some recon first. And
What do you mean recon?
like, I'd wait and see, like, who I thought was maybe going to pick up that bag.
They put it on a Nike duffel bag.
Oh.
Like on a guitar.
That's so weird.
They're just assuming that they belong to men.
What
That's interesting.
if it doesn't?
Yeah.
And then they're in a bigger mess. To me, of course, the video went viral because they're like, "Oh, is this a good idea or is it not?" I don't think so, because there are some psychos out there, and if they have your number, then what do you do?
Right. You can only dodge them so much before they bother you.
Yeah, I'm just not about that life. So anyways, they tried it. I don't know if they're going to have any luck,
Yeah.
but they took a good handful each.
Well, they got what they wanted out of it, and that was a video that went viral. Ultimately, like
But is it worth
the
it?
odds of
Because
them
the
actually
thing is-
using their phone number I would be really surprised.
Here's the thing, and I don't know if they thought about this, but in the video, you can actually see their phone numbers.
Yeah. Oh,
so
wow.
that means you can get even more people if it's a single guy, that wants to.
That makes me wonder, like, because I remember one time I used to do a bit at concerts where it's like, "Hey, text me right now my phone number, and we're gonna upgrade your seats to the stage seats or whatever." But I always had a burner phone to use for that because I did not want my real phone number being out there.
Well, yeah, of course, and I mean you could do that now. Like we use not a burner phone, but we have like a Google texting thing that we can text people with. But I would never want any stranger having my phone number.
Like, I thought maybe
That's
they were
creepy.
spying on it, like, oh, they saw this guy and then like they're trying to be cutesy with him.
Nope.
That's lunacy,
They're
man.
just taking chances.
That is Keith Morrison written all over it.
They're going to end up in a shallow 3-foot grave.
And it's faceless too. Like it's just it's completely. If you're dating on the internet, you run into situations where you don't know the real person per se, but you can maybe say, "Oh, okay, they look pretty, they look cute. I want to meet
Let's
them."
be honest. Physical attraction is important. Like
it is.
I mean, like everyone wants to, pretend to not be shallow. But what do you do when you're on a dating site? You're looking at profiles, but the first thing you're doing is looking at pictures. Like, and if somebody, like, if I was Betty and someone said, "Hey, I have a friend that I want to set you up with," my first question would be, "Well, send me a picture." Like, and I don't think that is shallow at all. Because like, oh, okay, I'm attracted to this person. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'd say even if you're a single person, you want to talk to someone that you theoretically want to, let's say, flirt with in the first place. Like you're not just going to take a stab at the generic public. You're going to go approach someone that you find attractive.
But that's not what these girls
Yeah,
did.
these girls are crazy.
That's what I think. That's a you said they're in a girl country duo thing. That's a publicity stunt, and it worked. Like they good for you. If you don't end up dead, good for you.
I've been seeing was that on TikTok?
You didn't end up dead. Good for you. Yes.
Yeah.
So I was hearing somebody say that they are getting more and more confident that TikTok is just doing a lot more publicity stunts and just plants. They're doing a lot more plants to start viral trends per se.
Interesting.
So I'd be curious if there are people that are reached out to via TikTok. Hey, we want you to go do this like weird and crazy thing.
And give them an idea.
Go do
that
that
would be weird.
And then they're like, and then they just twist the algorithm so that those things go wild. And then other people, again, it has to be funny, but then people run with it like crazy.
Yeah, that would be interesting if they were manipulating it. I would tend to think that they were rewarding it more than manipulating.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah, like I think that they definitely want to reward people that are doing content that they deem as viralable, and so they incentivize it to then do that kind
Otherwise, that just feels like it's a streaming service more than it is natural person's or natural humor of just the random stranger making a funny video.
I got to cut up another clip of audio from this guy Kelly K, who's a preacher on TikTok.
Like this guy.
I do like this guy. Like I know sometimes his delivery is a little to me, but 95% of the time I like his delivery and everything. But I like so far his messages have been great. And we talked about one. I played one the other day about Jesus walking on the water to walk past the disciples. Was the plan, and he has a really great take on that. And I had posted that, and I had played that, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's great! I want to check that out." And then he had another version of the same story, but from Peter's perspective that I came across today. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that is so good!" And so I'll cut that up and play that on the show either tomorrow or Friday. So there you go, some good stuff on TikTok. Do you have any birthdays? Are we good?
We do not.
Okay, well then that is going to have to do it for our Aftercast for today.
And as always,
thanks for being a potty.
growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.